Hello everyone. A warm welcome to all of you on SNEP channel. In this channel, we are trying to get to you different concepts of estate planning which are important for all of us and especially for those families who are caring for special needs children. Today we have with us to give us the inputs our founder member, Mr. Jitendra Solanki. Welcome Jitendra to the session.
Hello, Shilpa.
So today let's start the discussion about what is estate planning, because as our name suggests, we are special needs estate planners. So we have to first begin to understand what is estate planning.
Yes, now if I talk about estate planning, so generally people have a lot of confusion when we talk about that you have to do estate planning. Estate, first of all, everything gets related to real estate, right? So that's
Hmm.
not estate planning. Now, estate planning is a broad word. It comprises a lot many things. But if I have to just describe it, so estate planning is when you plan for situations wherein either you are incapacitated or at death, how your assets or your properties are going to be distributed to people or entities whom you intend to. That's about estate planning. So estate planning is not only about at your death, it's also about when you are incapacitated. That
Hmm.
means within your living, how things are going to be managed, how your properties or assets are going to be managed, and how you are also going to be taken care of. As I said, if you are incapacitated, and also at death, how your properties or assets are going to be transferred or bequeathed to people, entities whom you want to. So that's estate planning. So estate planning is a quite broad concept, and as I said, people generally relate it to real estate or maybe only properties or maybe only one element. But as I said, estate planning is all about within your lifetime and after your lifetime, how your properties and assets are going to be managed and pass on to the people or entities you intend to.
Yeah, that's a very sound input, I would say, because estate planning people, first of all, they think that it is to be done only by elderlies. And the confusion with the real estate is always there. So now we
Precisely.
have understood that estate planning has to be done by each and every person who has some asset or something of his own, and he wants to tell everyone, like, after me, how that thing should be taken care of. And not only that, if that person is incapacitated, like we have seen uncertainties during COVID, and even day to day life we see so many things happening suddenly. So estate planning is a very important exercise which each and every person has to do. But now that we are talking about, especially for families with special needs children, how estate planning should be seen by these families, and how is it different than the normal estate planning?
So in traditional estate planning, planning for families who do not have a special need child to care. So it's all about how the assets are going to be passed on to the next generation or to legal heirs after my death. And yes, incapacitation is also there as part of planning. But there, I would say probably writing a will, your estate planning would end at that concept, at that legal document that I have written a will, I have made provision for my incapacitation. Now my estate planning is done, and that's precisely because there I am planning for my own self after after a certain period. Say in a traditional planning, once the children gets married, then your responsibilities are over. Then it's you, your spouse, and your own retirement years. So you are planning for your legacy to transfer to the next generation. With special children families, it's planning for two generations. One, you yourself, and second is the special need dependent whose lifetime is going to extend beyond your lifetime. So when it comes to estate planning by special children families, they have a lot of areas to cover beyond the concept of writing a will. So will, I would
Hmm.
say, is only a starting document for them. There are a lot many other considerations. See where the child is going to reside after their lifetime. Uh,
Hmm.
who is going to manage the affairs, personal and financial affairs? Uh, can they make a decision once the child turns 18? So legal guardianship comes into picture. What can be the legal framework which can be set up which ensures that the special need child, both personal and financial affairs, can be managed for lifelong? So these are the consideration, or these are the additional requirements which a special need children families have to address. So estate planning for special need children families, I would say it traditional planning plus the unique requirement of special child which they have to plan.
Yes, so these families have some challenge there because they have a special need person to take care of, who probably would depend on the parents and other siblings, and the attached person has to be taken care of even after the parents. So, if that is the case, and you mentioned about a tool called Wheel. So, what are the different tools which can be looked at by special need children families?
So, when we talk about what are the tools of estate planning, there are many. We all know a will is a document which can be written, power of attorneys there which can be written by the families in certain manner. But if I have to describe what all are the tools of estate planning which a special children family can utilize for the benefit of special children family. So first is obviously the financial plan. I would consider as part of estate plan, because when you are planning for certain legal documents or legal framework, then you also have to do the funding, and the funding analysis comes from the financial plan. So financial plan is one of the tools. Letter of intent is one of the estate planning tool. It's a document which is written by the families, uh, which describe about the special child lifetime, right from his birth to the current context to the future, and describing about everything, his likes, dislikes, and surely their vision that how he should be taken care of. The letter of intent is one. Will is important for all of us, so that's a estate planning tool. Then you have living will, that is also an estate planning tool. Private family trust, which can be created by the families to manage the financial affairs after their lifetime. That financial affairs continue to be managed by the private trust for the lifetime of the child. So that is one element of estate planning or tool of estate planning which can be used. Then legal guardianship, that is a tool of estate planning, because parents have to take a legal guardianship once the child turns 18. Then who is going to be the next legal guardian, that also has to be documented. So these are some of the tools of estate planning which every family who have a special need dependent can utilize for the future of the special need child. Beyond this, there can be other tools depending on family dynamics and their requirements, which can be used. But I think these, what I have described, are the tools of estate planning which are utilized generally by all the families.
So, Jitendra, what we are saying is like there has to be a series, it has to be a proper planning. You have to start with the letter of intent, you have to see what is the stage of the child, the legal guardianship, and then decide like how the financial and the other aspects of the child will be taken care of. So, looks like a series, and one should start early, is what I can say. But then what we have experienced is people are so busy with taking care of the child, medically and otherwise settling everything. So the question arises is when parents should start thinking about estate planning while they are so busy taking care of the special child.
you rightly said, Shilpa. See, I have described so many estate planning tools. Now we are professional experts, so we know all of about them. But if you talk of a family who is not, from this field, probably they won't be aware of what is a private trust. What how the legal guardianship should be obtained. So because of this unawareness, many a times families are not able to decide or not able to think beyond maybe writing a will. Okay, that what all we can prepare for, and when should this planning should start. Because of lack of awareness and lack of guidance, families are not able to plan much early. Okay, now where should they start from? So what is the first document they can create? That's the most important question. Now, to me, letter of intent is the first document they can create. So if you have to start your estate planning, write the letter of intent, because it describes everything. It describes even the future, I would say, estate planning tool also, which will come into picture. Because when you are writing a letter of intent, you are first checking that how much you are prepared for the child future. Okay, what all documents you have prepared for and what can be created. So letter of intent is the first document. Now, how should they make them aware about that, what all issues can arise in the future or what they have to address? uh, for this, they should draw a timeline for the child life. Now, what is a timeline? A timeline describes that at what age of child, what kind of pressure points they will have to deal with. Say, for example, the child is 5 years of age. Now, when they draw a timeline at the age of 18 of child, they will have to deal with legal guardianship. So, this legal planning comes into picture. Take it forward, when parents are going to retire, so they will have to deal with the residential living of the child, might have to relocate if they are in metros and expenses are not in within their consideration. uh, then residential living, as I said, they have to plan for that, whether what kind of legal document they should create at this point of time, a private trust, uh, go extend beyond this, at the first at the death of the first parent,
Mm.
then the will come
Yes.
into picture, the funding of the trust will come into picture. So like this, at every stage of child, there would be some pressure points or some areas a family will have to plan for. So I think if any family has to identify that what is there in the estate planning, they should draw this timeline. And even if they don't know, so like at the first parent death, now they won't be knowing about private trust, but it will put a question mark, what all I have to do. So when there is a question mark, so you go and find an answer. Okay, that's where the experts speak about, expert guide them. This is what you have to do. So you have to start from probably drawing a timeline, understanding how the child life uh, will go till for his complete lifetime, and what are the areas which will come into picture which they will have to address at different stages. If you have done this, probably you would have done 50% of the work, understanding that these are the areas I have to plan for, and then you go and approach a professional.
Okay, so thank you so much, Jitendra. You have given us inputs about what is estate planning and what are the tools available and when parents should start. So, friends, let's take some ideas from here and wherever your child's timeline is, as mentioned by Jitendra, we request you to draw the timeline, and once you know the events, then some kind of thought process will begin in your mind, which will generate a letter of intent. Or if you need any special services, legal services, professional help, you will start getting to understand where should I go, how I should go. So in SNEP, we are actually providing all these services. We definitely help special needs children families to formulate these documentation, which is very important for their child. And this is part one, where we have now understood what is estate planning and things like that. But we understand that from our experiences that, of course, people are thinking about it, and people want to do this, but then they are facing certain obstacles, certain challenges. So in our next part, we are going to talk about what kind of challenges one may face while preparing the estate planning and how to deal with it. So stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you so much, Jitendra, for the valuable
Thank you,
insight,
Shilpa.
and let's meet next time to
Sure.
understand further about estate planning.
Yes, yes, certainly we'll discuss on other aspects of estate planning. And as you mentioned, this is a series which we have started with, where we are going to help families understand the importance of estate planning and maybe touch upon the basics concepts of all what we have discussed today.